right, all right, all right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the Misfit Nation. Yeah! In a room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Artists with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight, to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still breathing, you belong. Turn it up, this is our song. Yeah, this is our song. Yeah. Veterans standing with ghosts in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed, that's the misfit way. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, if the dark feels cold. It's Aubrey right now, we're the more than you know. Don't walk alone. Veterans press 1, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We're the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fire, from the fight, to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is fabrication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong.
Woo! All right, Misfit Nation will start tonight on a somber note. The Pentagon has released the names of 4 of those who were lost in the fight in Iran. Today we remember them. Captain Cody A. Cork, 35, of Winter Haven, Florida. Sergeant First Class Noah L. Teachins, 42, of Bellevue, Nebraska. Sergeant First Class Nicole M. Amor, 39, of White Bear, Minnesota, White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Sergeant Declan J. Cody, 20, of West Des Moines, Iowa. We lost them on March 4th at Port Shwaba, Kuwait, by an Iranian drone attack. Let's keep their families, their friends, their peers in your thoughts and prayers as they go through this tumultuous time, as a sudden change is not expected when you're in Kuwait. But we always keep them in our thoughts and prayers going forward. And now, Misfit Nation, flip the calendar, turn the page, because March is here and the crew is coming in strong. New month, new momentum, new opportunities to level up, lock in, and light this thing up. March isn't about waiting for spring. It's about marching forward. It's about discipline, drive, and pushing harder when others start coasting. And tonight, before we crank this all the way up to 11, we send a massive shout out to all the other service members deployed overseas in harm's way, to the men and women standing watch while we gather here tonight. We see you, we appreciate you, and the Misfit Nation stands with you. Your sacrifice allows nights like this to happen. Thank you for your strength, your courage, and your commitment. Now, we honor that spirit the only way we know how, with energy, resilience, and showing up at full power. So let's get loud, boys, get proud, and welcome the voices of grit, the voices of fire, Steven and Jake, the Misfit Nation's ToosDay Crue!
Good evening.
Good evening, Stephen. How you doing, Stephen?
It feels like we haven't been here for a while.
It feels like it's been a minute. Feels like
Yeah.
it's been a minute. But
we're back. We're bad. How'd that one go?
Yeah.
No, we don't know that. All right. Happy Tuesday.
always, happy Tuesday to you. And hey, I want to shout out. First of all, I want to thank the producer for that very good intro and honoring those 4 service members. And also, I want a big shout out to the first time 3-peat winner, Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, that's pretty damn amazing.
That was pretty impressive.
Yes.
I'm usually not a road course guy, but that was pretty impressive the other day.
Yeah, he's on a roll. He's hot, and he's going to keep trying and going and going.
I bet his car is in a million pieces on the garage floor right now.
And then there's the new intimidator, Mr. Hostar. He's out there, and people are talking and hating, and I'm loving it because he's bringing excitement back to the track.
Yes, he is.
He's making rubbing his racing come back to life, and I'm loving that.
He's a full send kind of driver, and I love that. I love that.
Head down, just going forward. I love it.
Hey, we met our guest in the green room, and I think we have a great guest this evening. And with that, let's get her introduced here. And I want to begin with saying, if you're going to make a change, real change begins within. And for Diana Colleen, the profound healing through psychedelic-assisted therapy that sparked a deeper mission in her. She uses storytelling to challenge power, to question ego-driven systems, and explore what humanity could become if empathy and accountability guided leadership. So in tonight's episode of the ToosDay Crue, we're going to dive in consciousness, creativity, and the inner work required for a collective transformation. So without any further ado, let's get Diana in. Good evening.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor to be here.
Well, thank you. We're honored to have you. So I gave about a nickel's worth of what you do. Why don't you fill the Misfit Nation in on the other 95 cents and tell as much about yourself as you want to?
Sure.
The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. I guess I'll start in my early 20s. I was a firefighter at Sun Peaks Ski Resort in British Columbia in my early 20s, and I was on a path to enter the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And I experienced an extremely traumatic event, which just devastated everything. I no longer had that career path, and I basically just packed up all of whatever I could fit into my car, and I drove to Seattle. And I've been in Seattle ever since, and that was in the year 2000. I am the kind of person, probably like a lot of people listening to this right now, who I stuff everything down. I don't deal with my trauma. I put on a brave face and I face the world, and nobody really knows what's going on inside. In 2018, my entire life of trauma, and there's been a lot of it, bubbled up, and I became suicidal. And I was very, very fortunate to find an underground psychedelic-assisted therapist who I absolutely believe saved my life. And since then, I have trained as a psychedelic facilitator, and I've learned other tools that have kept me alive, like meditation. And about 3 years ago, 3 or 4, I think it's 3 years ago, in meditation, I kept getting a message that an idea for a book, and I've never written anything in my life before, and I'm like, I don't know why this message is coming to me. I'm not a writer, but it was a fully formed concept for a book, and I was in a job that I was really unhappy in, and my partner, who's now my husband, um, could see how much I was struggling there, and he knew about this idea, and he offered to support me if I quit my full-time job and dedicated my life to writing the book. And that was terrifying to me because I've always been very independent, and relying on somebody else was really scary for me. So that was the biggest risk for me, was actually being dependent on somebody else. But I did. I quit my job, and I sat at my desk at home for 8 to 10 hours a day, every day, writing and learning about the craft and learning about the publishing industry. And now I have a published book. It's called They Could Be Saviors, and it's an eco thriller that holds billionaires accountable using psychedelic-assisted therapy.
Okay. All right. And if you have a copy, either now or, well, many times during the show, if you've got a copy of the book and want to hold it up and show it to us, we would love that, because, well, Stephen and okay, They Could Be Saviors. All right. Where can we get that?
It is available pretty much anywhere books are sold. So all the big names that you know of, and you can go into any indie bookstore and ask them to order it for you if they're not carrying it. Some libraries have it. The Seattle library where I'm at has 6 copies, but there's actually a fairly substantial wait list for it. But yeah,
Awesome.
anywhere books are sold.
Okay. All right. And I will. I have a thing for books. I love to read. So just anytime we have an author on, I usually buy the book that evening. So I'll be getting on there and getting the book, because I love to read, and it looks like it would be a good story.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You are very welcome. You working on another one yet?
Yes, I am just plotting the sequel. So this book I haven't been marketing as, like, it's been marketed as a standalone because it has a very clear finish, but there's a lot that can be done afterwards as well. So it's actually going to be a trilogy.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's 3 books I get to buy. I hope Mrs. Holland didn't hear that, because she'll be like, "Oh, more books."
Well, you know,
I just got yelled at from the other room. She heard that, so.
bookshelves are easy to put together. I got them stacked all around me. It's nice and easy.
So, kind of talk to us a bit how you went. What was the process? You got into the psychedelic therapy, and it just boom came to you.
The book, or
Yeah. You said that you started thinking about a book, and
it actually came in meditation. I wasn't under the influence of anything when it was in meditation. But I know a lot of writers experience writer's block, and I was really fortunate because when, like, I didn't actually plot this book out. I was a pantser, which is a term that writers use. So you can either be a plotter or a pantser. The plotters, they figure out the entire book before they start writing it. Well, I just had this idea that was coming in meditation, and I just started writing. And whenever I was like, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen, I meditated, and everything that came after came to me in meditation. So I never really experienced writer's block.
Okay.
That's
All right. Well,
amazing. Okay.
yeah, that's I go to write a grocery list and get writer's block. So
Yeah.
so you talk about talking about the billionaires being accountable
Mhm.
and talk us through that and how you approach that in your book.
Sure. Uh, Um, I was always I think that most people are in one of two camps when it comes to billionaires. There's the people who see them as heroes and we look up to them and kind of want to be them. And then there's the camp that thinks they're evil villains. And I was firmly in the evil villains camp. But when I started writing the book, I realized that they're just human beings like the rest of us, and they have trauma as well. And you know, trauma may have shaped who they who they are and why they hoard. I look at billionairism as pathology. They it's a mental illness. They hoard at an extreme, and we've all seen the TV show Hoarders, and we know that that is a mental illness, but we don't apply that to billionaires. And I kind of want to shift the narrative around that. So the book looks at them as human beings that can be treated with psychedelic assisted therapy, and the goal, once they've recognized kind of what they're doing to the planet and to humanity, the goal is for them to solve climate change.
Okay. All right. And do you go into how they would do that, or
How they would solve climate change?
yeah, did you give them an idea for doing that?
Yeah, so kind of the framework for them solving it is at the end of this book, and then the second book is actually solving it. So yes, at the end of this book, you will have an idea of how they are going to solve it. But obviously, if I knew how to solve climate change would be solved. If any of us actually knew how to solve it, it would be solved. But I believe that if the right people read this and the right people kind of open their minds, it absolutely is possible for it to be solved. It's a matter of working together, and instead of at odds with each other. I think a lot of billionaires and even like climate companies that are working towards solving the problem are working at odds with each other instead of
Hmm.
collaborating and working together. So it's about collaboration.
Yeah, because there's a lot of folks out there talking about it, and my idea is better than yours, so I'm going to trash your idea, and we're not going to work together. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
That's the whole problem. You got to get everybody together on one page, and nobody wants to be on the
Yeah,
same page.
yeah.
They
And
all
and we
want to
know
say,
that
I did it, and that's it. They don't want
right,
to say, let's get together and do this.
right. Yeah. And then nothing gets done. It's
Right.
this the mentality of competition and ego. So
That's your
with
billionaire
psychedelic
ego.
therapy,
Yeah.
ego is kind of broken down so that you can actually, collaborate instead of compete.
Hmm. And that's out of
yes,
control most of the time.
very out of control.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, or how do you, or in the book, or how do you, you know, everybody's hoping for better climate change, but then anytime that you go to the news or go anywhere else, you've got, it's all gloom and doom when
Mhm.
they're talking about it. How do you balance that when you're writing about it? I mean, do you give both sides of it, or how can you, how do you write that without the book seeming like all gloom and doom?
So this book is actually really hopeful. That's what makes it stand apart from other classic dystopian novels. It's very hopeful because it shows you that it really would not take a lot for us to get on top of this. Um, I think that as a society, we're looking at climate change in the wrong way. We're asking what, like 8 billion people on the planet, right? So we're asking 8 billion people to change their behavior. So take shorter showers, don't use plastic straws, recycle more. And we're being guilted into, like if we're not perfect, we're guilted about that. And if 8 billion people did make those changes, yes, it would have an impact, but the greatest impact is changing the behavior of the roughly 3,200 billionaires on the planet. And that's what we need to be focused on. So individually, like one billionaire's private jet, just the jet alone is creating like more emissions than 5,000 individuals' lifetimes. And that's just their jet. And these people are also the people who are making all the decisions. Like they run corporations, they lobby governments. So, they're the ones who are still producing all of the things that are killing our planet. And we're being asked not to use those things, but we're not telling them not to produce them in the first place. So that's where I really want to shift how people are talking about solving climate change. It shouldn't be the 8 billion people with no power. It should be the 3,200 people with all the power.
Okay. All right. I can see that. But because and you are right, they would have the money and the influence to affect the change.
Right. Exactly.
And
And like it boggles my mind that they're spending billions and billions of dollars shooting rockets into space, like, oh, we're going to colonize Mars or we're going to colonize the moon. And though there are no resources on either of those places, and we have the resources here. And why are you not spending those billions of dollars to fix this beautiful planet that we already live on that is abundant? There's enough. This planet provides enough for everyone on it if the 3,200 people weren't taking so much.
yeah, and I think it starts at a young age as well. We need to teach people to be better stewards of what they have been given.
Yes. Yes. I think that people are disconnected from nature. And that's part of what psychedelics do. They connect you to yourself, they connect you to humanity, and they connect you to nature. And we have a huge disconnection problem. And, there's so many people who don't even see us as part of nature. They see us as apart from nature. And we are animals. We are,
Yes.
yeah. And this planet is all nature. And like you said, we need to be better stewards of it.
Yes, and one of our listeners from Nepal, they just posted in that they host many billionaires on climbs, and he's asking, should we try and teach them to curb their lifestyles?
That would be wonderful. Yeah, I mean, Nepal
Thank
is
you for
such
that. Thank you for that question, K-12 lead.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Nepal is such a spiritual country. I was there 2 years ago, I think, and yeah, they have a way of speaking about nature that is very different than how we here in America speak about it. So I think that would be amazing if they could talk to those people, for sure.
yeah, and you brought up the jets. That's my biggest complaint, and I usually yell at the TV when I'm watching the news, is folks talking about, we need to do this, we need to clean up the air, we need to change the climate, and then they jump on their jet and fly to the G whatever summit over in Switzerland.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't understand it.
And then get on me for wanting to burn a chunk of coal in my heater.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or you have to use like a soggy paper straw because you're not allowed to have a plastic straw. And I agree,
Yeah.
like we should not be using as much plastic as we do, but I should not be made to feel guilty if I happen to have a drink with a plastic straw when, Bezos is over there on his private jet. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, of course. Now, yeah, you've done the therapy, you believe in the use of psychedelics, and why do you think that psychedelics have the potential to influence not just individuals, but entire cultures and societies?
Oh, so it's not just the psychedelics, it's the healing. So I believe that if an individual heals themselves, they are actually healing society. Um, so if you think about any groups that you're in, or when you're out and about, when there's somebody who's like kind of draining your energy, and when you're around somebody who elevates your energy. We have this field around us that other people interact with and can feel. Everyone can feel everyone else's energy. And I believe that when you heal yourself, your energy is different and you behave differently in the world. So for example, if you go to Starbucks and the barista there has had a bad day, maybe a customer was rude to the barista. That barista, their mood is then, they get in a bad mood. They might be rude to you, and then because they were rude to you, you're in a bad mood and you go out and be rude to somebody else, and that just sort of ripples out. It's like the butterfly effect. But the
Mhm.
opposite is also true. So if you're kind to somebody, you make somebody's day, you give them a compliment, they go out into the world and they might give somebody else a compliment, and that ripples out. So when you heal yourself, of trauma, you behave differently in the world, and that makes a big difference. I think people don't think that one person can make a difference, and one person makes all the difference.
Well, just like if you work in an office setting, that there's usually that one person that everybody dreads in the
Yes.
office, or the one
Yeah.
person that everybody looks forward to coming around and saying hi. And yeah, it can be like
Yeah.
that in society as well.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And so the person who's always like the one that people dread, we don't necessarily know what's going on inside of them. They might have had a horrifically traumatic life and we don't know. And that is why they behave the way they do. So if you can heal your own trauma, you behave differently.
okay, now you talk about. I mentioned in your introduction about empathy. Is there such? Do you think that there's such a thing as too much?
Too much empathy?
Yes.
It can be so there are people who are called empaths. And so empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, but it also means that you can feel somebody else's pain. So when you can feel somebody else's pain, you can understand like why they are the way they are, because you know what's going on inside of them. So if you're an empath, that can be absolutely like um it's almost like a trauma in its own way if you can feel everybody else's pain and you can't
Hmm.
shut that off. So you have to guard yourself when you have empathy for others. You have to be able to guard yourself so that you're not actually taking on all of their pain. You have to be able to manage that. But
Okay.
I don't think society as a whole could possibly ever have too much empathy.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, now, what do you want your readers, especially those that are frustrated with billionaires and the climate crisis? What what's the one thing that you want them to take out of your book?
Hope. I talk about hope a lot, because I think that with the world being the way that it is right now, a lot of people don't have it. And when you kind of spiral down, when you have no hope, your whole life can feel really, really dark. But I like to talk about hope as something that you kind of give yourself. So
Hmm.
hope is the consequence of action. So you actually have to do something in order to have hope. You're not going to get hope just waiting around for something to happen so that you have hope. You actually have to do something to give yourself hope. And that's part of the reason I wrote my book. It's giving me hope. I hope that I can change the world. I'm actually doing something about it. And it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to, run for office or anything like that. Being creative. So I don't know if you can see the paintings behind me, but like just painting gives you hope because you've created something beautiful. You can see that, you know, oh, there is beauty in the world. That gives you hope. Going out and walking, listening to the ducks quacking, that gives me hope. I'm like, oh, there's still positive things in the world. So recognizing that there's beautiful things in the world can give you hope. Just go out for a walk and see some beautiful things to give yourself some hope.
Yeah, and it can be little things. You mentioned, painting or whatever. I was sitting in a doctor's office and read an article one time that said, if you're feeling down, it said, do your dishes,
Yeah,
do your
that's a good
dishes
one.
and clean
Yeah,
the sink, and
yeah,
you know, work your way out from there. And it
yeah.
it actually it actually works.
It does. And just moving. My friend just published a book called Shake Yourself Free, and it's like real. There's 81 really little somatic practices where you just move your body in certain ways, just like for 2 minutes, and that can change your mood completely just by shaking your arms or dancing is huge.
Hmm.
Put some headphones on. No one needs to know what you're dancing to, or just dance in your living room on your own. That is a huge mood elevator.
Yes, my
But
mom is
you see,
80,
where
80
I
years
work,
old.
if I start just dancing around, people think I'm going crazy. So I can't do
Going crazy.
that. If I'm out and I just start dancing around, they're calling the cops or the ambulance or something. They're saying there's something wrong with this child.
Hey, what it is. I think we got a question in there, Stephen.
Yes, we do. I need to find it. At Do It To It 86 wants to know, what was the turning point that shifted you towards psychedelic and assisted healing? Thank you for that question. Do It To It 86.
Yeah. I've tried other things. So, I've done talk therapy, I've tried antidepressants, I've tried EMDR, um, lots of different modalities. But when I was suicidal, I none of those things were working. And I had heard about psychedelic assisted therapy. I'd read all about it, but it was really hard to find a therapist because it's illegal. And but I went to a plant meetup group, and there was somebody there who had treatment resistant depression who was seeing a psychedelic assisted therapist who referred me to his therapist. So I was really, really lucky to be able to find somebody. There are a lot more facilitators now than when I found it in 2018 because it's very, very close to being legalized. So people are being trained now, and the country is kind of getting prepared for legalization. So there are a lot more people out there. So it's a lot easier to find.
Now, do you see this becoming more and more mainstream?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the VA, they're doing clinical trials right now on MDMA for our war vets because PTSD is so hard to treat, and there's like overwhelming evidence that MDMA can treat PTSD in a way that nothing else has shown um, to be able to do that. So yeah, it's really it's really close. We were really hoping that in the summer of 2024 it was going to be legalized, but there was a setback. But hopefully soon.
Okay. All right. And yeah, I know that it's looked down upon, but I don't know if it would be my thing or not, but if it gets people the help they need and doesn't become a problem,
Right.
that's my
Right.
big issue right there, especially especially with the VA, because the VA is big on, oh, here is a 5-gallon bucket full of pills. This will fix you.
Right.
And uh, it don't. So
Right. But that's why this is so hopeful, because you don't have to be on pharmaceuticals for the rest of your life. It's not that it's a one and done, but it's a one and your life has changed. So for me, when I was suicidal, I had one session, and the session is typically um, like you have a couple of talk therapy sessions with the therapist. It's not quite like talk therapy. You're just kind of getting to know each other and um, discussing how things are going to happen the day that you are under the influence of whatever substance the therapist thinks is going to help you the most. So then you have that full day. And then really quickly after that day, usually within a couple of days, you have another session where it's called an integration session, where you talk with your therapist about everything that you learned while you were under the influence and how you integrate that into your life. So that's one session. And for me, one session got me out of my suicidality. Like, it saved my life in one session. So that's the promise that it holds. And I since then I have not been on any pharmaceuticals whatsoever for depression.
okay, good, good for that. And I guess one plus with that is, if insurance is not paying for all those drugs, then prices come down, and billionaires
Yeah,
aren't hoarding all that much money.
hopefully. I'm afraid that big pharma is going to get its grubby hands all over it, and it's going to
Oh,
make it
they will.
inexistent. I know. I know. I know. Yeah,
Well,
that's my
that's why
con-
those insulin shots went from $25 to 20, to
yep,
$300 a pound, because big pharma,
exactly.
they want to
Yep.
make money and they control it, and it's theirs, and you're screwed, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, I think about how many people this can help. So our war vets, the homeless population, which a lot of them are war vets, but also addicts. Um, these substances are showing so much promise for addiction. So if we can get this legalized, it will change society if we can keep it at a cost that the people who need it the most can have access.
Yeah, and that's that's going to be the big thing, because once
Mhm.
it becomes popular, the price is going to go up tremendously.
Yeah, crossing fingers that doesn't happen. But we've seen
Yeah,
that over and over again, right? Yeah.
yeah, that is the trend. That
Yeah.
is the trend.
All right, we have another question coming in. First, I want to say hi to everybody on TikTok, because it's the first time we're live on TikTok, and I'm loving that. But the question for you is from El Cylindra 3 wants to know, how can storytelling realistically influence entrenched systems of power? Thank you for that question, Sonia.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that question. It came in
How
really
can,
muffled.
how can storytelling realistically influence entrenched systems of power?
I'm sorry, I'm still not getting it. Is
Hey,
Jake able to read it?
hey, let me give it a shot, Stephen. How can storytelling realistically influence entrenched systems of power?
Realistically, that's that's the key, right? I think that stories have a way of kind of pulling us away from reality so that we can look at things um, without without fear, and um, it just gives us that little bit of space between reality and and um, and the story, and we can examine things. We can examine ourselves. We can see ourselves in the characters, and yeah, it's. Um, I don't know that it can change systems, but I think it can change minds. So it's if enough people change their minds about things, and then we start talking as a society in different terms. So when we talk about billionaireism, when we talk about climate change and psychedelics, if we start talking about those things in a different way as a society, so kind of a revolution of consciousness, that's when we can have reform. So if enough people in society demand changes, then hopefully the systems will change, because the people with power will listen to us.
Now we can't hear you, Jake. You're on mute.
I know my mic was off. uh, yeah, if we get enough people screaming it, maybe enough of the people in power will hear it. But you know, they're sitting up there in their ivory towers with their private jets and doing all this and doing all that. And
Right.
I always find it funny that a lot of them seem like they're very, very liberal, but they're in reality they're not.
Yeah, they say a lot of things publicly, and do a lot of things very much differently than what they say. So, like for example, the Amazon climate pledge, they pledged, I think it was in 2019, they pledged to reduce their emissions by something like 40% by, I can't remember what date. Well, since 2019, their emissions have risen. They haven't decreased at all. They've risen. And then you've got the giving pledge that Warren Buffett started. He gathered up a bunch of billionaires and had them sign this pledge saying they were going to give away half of their wealth. Well, I think every single billionaire but one, their wealth has increased since they signed that pledge. So yeah, it looks great on paper. Let's have this climate pledge. Let's have this giving pledge, make us look good. And it's all a bunch of BS. They're not actually doing anything that they said they would do.
Yeah. There's only one that I think would have done what he said he was going to do. And
Who's that?
That's when Ross Perot said if he was elected president, he would pay off the national debt. I do believe he would have done that. He might not have, but now I was not a fan of his, but he said he's out of his own pocket, he was going to pay off the national debt.
And back then it could have been done, but now that the national debt is like, what is it, 4 times our GDP? Like, how's that ever going to get paid off?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole different show, isn't it?
It is. We won't get into that, but we have another question.
Okay.
Stephen, you want me to go ahead and take it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Make you 57. What role does empathy play in effective leadership today? Thank you for that question. Make you 57.
I think a lot of our leaders are dysregulated. And when you're dysregulated, you create systems that are dysregulated. And that's due to ego. So your ego is there to protect you. It keeps you alive, but it also it makes you very defensive. It makes you very competitive. So when you're empathetic, like I said, you're sort of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. It also makes you more collaborative. So a collaborative leadership is very different than a powerful competitive leadership. When people work together, listen to other people's ideas, they don't have to be the one who came up with the idea, and they don't have to take the credit for coming up with the ideas. When they're giving credit to other people, that's real leadership, in my opinion. You're hiring people as good or better than you because they make you better, instead of having to be the person who's like number one. And yeah, it's just, it's a, I don't know if you, it's kind of a feminine. Empathy is a soft skill, and it's a feminine skill. And I'm not saying, like, men can't have empathy, just as women can be powerful. But it's a soft skill. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I think that there are male leaders out there that think empathy is weakness.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to change the narrative around that as well, because empathy is not a weakness; it's a strength. And it's a skill, and you can learn it. But yeah, I think a lot of men see it as weakness, and their egos are not allowing them to be vulnerable. And empathy is vulnerability, but you can't change things when you're in that defensive place. Accountability is accepting that it's openness to correction. That's what accountability is openness to correction. You can see, oh my gosh, I've made a mistake. How do I fix it? Instead of doubling down. And I think that's what a lot of leaders do, is they double down.
Yeah. I've had my share of leaders, and some of them there's not an empathetic bone in their body, and then there's other ones that have a very good balance.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it would be wonderful if we could start teaching people at a young age. And I know that schools are starting to try to teach empathy and to teach mindfulness. But there's also a lot of pushback on that, which I think is really sad. I think society would change a lot if we were teaching kids empathy.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know I'm a Gen Xer. There was no empathy in that generation, none.
Me too. Yeah, I'm a Gen Xer.
Whatsoever. So
Yes, but we learned how to jack up a car and change a tire, how to use a rotary phone,
and
handbrake.
And if the car fell on you, you was told, "Hey, walk it off."
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. And your parents wouldn't see you until it was dark outside. Yep.
Yeah. Or me and Stephen can attest, the nun would smack you in the back of the head and say, "Get it right."
Yes.
Yep.
All right. You got another question in there. Go ahead,
Yes,
Stephen.
we do. At How T Books Rule wants to know, how do you balance climate urgency with hope in your writing?
How do I
Thank you for
balance
that
climate
question.
urgency? Oh, sorry, you
Yes.
weren't finished?
No, I
I'm
was just
sorry.
thanking them for the question.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
how do
apologize.
you balance climate urgency with hope in your writing?
The book isn't, it's not a super urgent book. So when it looks at climate change, it's it's a near future book. So it's basically the world that we live in now. So it is urgent. I believe it's the most important thing that we should be focusing on, because without a living planet, we don't have any other problems because we won't be alive. Um, but the book itself isn't like dystopian where the world is, there's no water and people are struggling to survive. It's the world that we have now. So, forest fires and hurricanes and that kind of thing. So it's not urgent in the book. um I I've never not had hope. I've always been a hopeful person. And like I was saying before, you have to give yourself that hope. So yes, the world is kind of falling apart, and I see that, and I know that it's really important to fix it. But because I personally believe that we can change it, I have hope. So I think that people need to start feeling that for themselves, instead of the doom scrolling and the negative thinking. We need to change our thinking to positive thinking, because nothing is ever going to change if we're just thinking that we can't do anything about it.
Okay, all right. Always got to have that hope, though. Always got to have it. I got a question
Yeah.
for us in there, Stephen.
Yeah, they want to know where we've been.
Yeah.
Onions don't cry, you do. Wants to know where the hell we've been for 2 weeks.
Well, first of all, y'all don't want to sit here and listen to me and Stephen banter back and forth with one another with no guest. And we did not have any guests for those 2 weeks. That's why we weren't here. So we
But we're back.
apologize. We are back. And one more from Lemons and Tea, yo. Have you read Bryn Brown, and do you align with her?
That's for you, Diana.
Yeah, that's to you, Diana.
Have I read who?
Bryn Brown.
Brene Brown? Brene?
Yeah. Yes. I probably didn't pronounce that right.
And which one of her books?
Have you read any of her books, and do you align with her?
On some things, yeah. I actually went to see her speak, I think it was in November, and she talks about some really powerful things. She talks about vulnerability a lot, and shame. So yeah, I think she's doing wonderful things. She's gotten kind of corporate lately. I'm not really in that world. But I do think that she has a lot of very valuable things to say, for sure.
Yes. And I've never read her. I've never even heard of her. So, okay,
Yeah,
we've
I've got one of her books right next to me, but
got time for one last question here that just popped in from Lions, Tigers, and Beers 4. What does meaningful accountability look like in modern culture?
being able to say you were wrong. I think that that's one of the big things that leadership is missing, is being able to see that you have made a mistake and work towards fixing it, instead of, like I was saying, doubling down and or just being like, it wasn't me. The buck has to stop somewhere, and leaders need to take accountability. They need to be the people in charge of of the mistakes.
Yeah, we used to call that pinning the rose on someone and make them be accountable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's about all the questions we had come in, and want to tell you it has been a great chat. Now, for anybody that checked in a little later, hold your book up. Let's talk about your book just a second. Okay, it is called They Could Be Saviors. You can get it anywhere books are sold. Get online and get it. Just type it in. The author is Diana Colleen. And there it is right there, popped up. Got a 5-star review already up in there. And get that book. Now, Diana, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Yeah. I love to hear from readers or listeners. My email address is hello@dianacolleenauthor.com, or you can go to my website, which is just dianacolleenauthor.com. And I have a newsletter sign up. If you sign up for my newsletter, you get the free discussion guide for the book. It's $1.99 on Amazon if you'd rather pay for it rather than signing up for my email. But that discussion guide has so many questions. Like, even if you're not in a book club, just reading the questions on your own, you can discover so much about what you believe and how you think about things. So yeah, but I would love to hear from people. If you want to send me an email, let me know what you thought about this episode. If you have any questions, I would love that.
All right. And we have one more question for you in 3 parts. What are 3 non-negotiables that Diana has to do every day, or her day is not complete?
I have to snuggle with my cats.
Okay.
I have to go for a walk. I have to be outside for some portion of the day. And 3rd, I have to meditate.
Okay. All right. Snuggle with your cat, go outside and meditate. All right. Well, hey, Diana, thank you so much for being on here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was truly a very, a little bit deeper than a lot of chats we get into. I kind of liked it. It was fun. And hey, Misfit Nation, you're out there, you're listening to us this evening. Remember that tomorrow will not be as good a day if you're not in it. So if you're in that darkness, you're feeling the darkness, you're down, get on that telephone, call somebody who cares about you, or dial 988. Take option 1 if you're a veteran. They will get you the help you need. If you don't want to do that, hop on your email, Stephen@themisfitnation.com, info@themisfitnation.com, or Jake@themisfitnation.com. Drop your number in there. We'll call you. Misfit Nation, we love you. Stephen, parting shot.
Jake. Everybody be happy. Have a great week, and we will be back next week to play again.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.